Hello, everyone. I'm Roy Hayes, president of True North Presents, and welcome to the Jubilate Music Group product focus video today. And I'm your guest host. I'm here today with Mark Cabanis and Mark Blankenship. They are the co-creators of a new musical, Triumph of Faith, the musical story of Esther. Welcome, Mark and Mark.
Thank you. Glad to be
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, Roy. Let me say, if I may quickly, Roy, to our viewers, that you are the perfect person to be our guest host today because, of course, it was you that helped assemble our whole Carnegie Hall event last year with your company, True North Presents, and I'm sure we'll talk a bit about that on today's episode. But again, you were there, and so we're honored to have you a guest hosting today's product focus.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, it was really a joy to work with both of you guys for really more than a year, preparing for what happened just a few short months ago, the world premiere of Triumph of Faith at Carnegie Hall. I sat in the audience and was just so moved by the creativity, the artistry. I'm eager to hear you guys talk a little bit more about how this came about, and I'm hoping that as many other people will be blessed by this the way that we were that night at Carnegie Hall. So maybe Mark Cabanis, tell us a little bit about how Triumph of Faith came about.
Well, thank you, Roy. Long story short, when I was a senior in high school, I was asked to narrate a musical, a children's musical about Esther. And I never forgot that story. And it really resonated with me on several levels. So when the Carnegie Hall event came about, I was excited that Mark Blankenship, that Mark could be involved with us. And it kind of a dream of mine, a longtime dream to collaborate with Mark. And so to collaborate with him on kind of an extended work, as we call them, or a major work like this, has just been so much fun and a joy and an honor. And but so again, that remembrance of the story of Esther from my youth, as well as this event, just I thought, what a great. There are no adult musicals that I've seen in the out there published by major publishers about Esther, and so I thought, this could be a really exciting thing to build, if you will, for churches out there as a unique experience for churches. It's not Christmas or Easter, and those are, of course, wonderful times to do extended works, but this is the kind of work that I think can challenge people in a way, even though it's very easy to put together, but to do something out of the box. And so we published something out of the box in this sense. And I think, it offers an opportunity for churches to do something that's truly unique and exciting in its own way.
Absolutely. One of the things that captured me in listening to this at the Carnegie Hall presentation was the treatment of the different musical styles that were all woven together. Mark Blankenship, talk a little bit about how you determined the use of these different styles in this musical.
Well, when Mark first contacted me about writing this, of course, I was excited. Here's an older man trying to get some stuff done, been writing for a long, long time. And now, but I did some research. I got on the computer and listened to all kinds of Jewish material I could find that were on the web. And, they got all kinds of styles mixed in there. And I tried to take some of those and adapt them to the melodies, the style of the melodies that I was going to write, and the accompaniment. And when someone listens to that, they'll see that I did some good research on that, because you have a good variety of material. There's the Jewish dance feel, and that's incorporated into a couple of the songs. And I even go from that into some big ballad kind of pieces that we're used to hearing today. And then there was some lighthearted stuff that we felt would fit evil Haman, the consort right next to the king, who was trying to annihilate the Jewish nation. And so I tried to color him in a different way. And then also I mixed in, Mark mentioned one time. And so then we decided there were 3 songs that we mixed in, and I'll tell about those in the middle in a minute. But we mixed in some songs that are familiar to people, but still supported the message we were trying to get across with this. So I just tried to find a good variety of material within those styles, and so I could prick the ear of the listener, whatever they wanted to hear.
Well, it was very effective. I remember just enjoying the whole movement of the musical, and at times it was entertaining, it was inspiring and poignant, and it made me laugh, and it was just the whole spectrum of emotion basically that I experienced listening to this musical. I found myself not wanting it to be over, as it got towards the end of the story, but and I really hope other people can have that experience. Mark Cabness, what would you say to other choral leaders about maybe why they should share this with their folks?
Well, as I was kind of saying before, I think it's a unique opportunity, and mostly though, well, a unique opportunity to do something that's out of the box, but mostly the message. It is an extremely powerful message. When I was writing the book and the lyrics, and along with Mark, so carefully collaborating with the music, I was reminded that so much of this story it's today. And in the opening prologue, one of the lyrics is, "This story is about truth, and it is about you." Because I wanted the audience to know immediately from the get-go that this is not only an ancient story, but it's an ancient story that is very relevant today and that will resonate with you, those of you who are listening, if you will listen carefully. So I think it's a story that resonates and has resonated through the ages. And again, in the world we live in today, it seems like it resonates all the more. And so it's a story that needs to be told again and again. And hopefully we have told it in a way that will resonate for today. We think it does. It would certainly happen that night at Carnegie Hall, and we've already had a few performances of the work, several that have said the same thing, that it really does, again, resonate, to overuse that word. And so that would be what I would say, Roy, is that I just think the message is so strong. There's a song in it that Mark has written. And by the way, just for the record, I think this is some of Mark's best writing. I Believe I Will Stand is the song, really an anthem that is reprised at the end. It really is kind of part of the big finale, if you will. And it's that very definite song of commitment and of just a declaration, and so I think those moments are so powerful. We certainly felt that at Carnegie Hall.
I absolutely agree, Mark. It felt unlike really anything I had heard before. And, after 35 years of music ministry, we've all heard a lot, but this is really unique. And that was my experience of thinking how important this message is right now. Mark Blankenship, tell us a little bit more about, the main message of this musical and some of the song highlights that are in it.
Well, if you sit down and read the book of Esther in the Old Testament, it won't take you very long to read it, and you can sense the passion of what's happening on both sides. The evil man Haman, as well as Esther and her what was he?
His cousin?
Cousin or uncle?
Yeah.
And Mordecai was a very, very strong influence in the life of Esther, and is the one that really said, if we're going to survive as a nation, you got to go in there to the king and tell him what Haman's trying to do as far as annihilation of this whole Jewish race. So I must say that I'm a word man. I've probably got most hymns memorized in my brain. You know, I just love lyrics. Well, I've worked with several lyricists, and Mark is an excellent lyricist. He just really, really came through strong on these. I would see something and I'd say, well, what about adding this or this little thing here and that? So we worked back and forth because I've written a few lyrics, not many very good, but I've written a few, so I know the passion of what we're trying to get to. And then from the musical standpoint, then I would say, well, but we need to do this kind of musical thing here. So the work has a large variety. I began it with a big fanfare, because when you think of a Queen Esther, who she was in the story, and the king Ahasuerus, when we think of that, you think of fanfare. You know, back in those days, we've seen it on the movies that came out of the West Coast. You know, but those kind of fanfares are always there. And we started with that, and then there's a statement of that chorus that Mark mentioned, that we make it a theme of the entire work, and it comes in and out throughout the work, called "I Believe I Will Stand," and so that's one of the characters of it. But then we used different musical, really kind of hymn-like feel, or I don't know, something like that, to introduce all of the characters that are in the musical. And so that's the way it starts. And then shortly after there, we get the evil right-hand man of the king, Haman, and that's where we do some kind of a calypso feel, with a Jewish taste to it, or something like that, you might say. And then there's beautiful ballad comes in that Esther sings by herself, and then the chorus comes in, and one of the three songs that we use that are not original. We used the first verse of "Holy, Holy, Holy," and it was sung by the men. The ladies came in at the end, but it set up the holiness around what Esther and Mordecai were trying to do to save the Jewish nation. And Mordecai comes in after her, singing in a minor key. To me, it's kind of a haunting crying of a man who wants to really protect his Jewish nation. And so that was very passionate. And then Esther comes in and sings a duet with him, and they're pleading for hope and guidance from God to show them how to do what they need to do to save their nation. So it was an exciting time, and we went through all those. In the middle of one of the next tunes, there's a setting of "Be still and know that I am God," and here's God talking to them. Just be patient, as he tries to tell us in our prayers. Sometimes we're talking to him, and he comes back and says, "Just be patient. You know, I'll take care of it. You know, you just got to listen to me and talk to me about it, and I'll take care of it." And that's what happens there at that point. And then there's another interruption from Haman. That same melody comes back, and he said, "Don't forget me, I'm here. I'm fixing to destroy all you Jews." And then the next song is between Esther and Mordecai again, about what Esther needs to do. You know, she knew that if she didn't go at the right time, if the king Ahasuerus didn't lift up his rod or whatever it is, that she would be annihilated. She would be killed. You couldn't go into the king's court without permission. And so thank goodness when she approached, he raised his what's that thing called?
The scepter.
And she was okay, and she told him the story. But basically what she started, that's when she said, "I want to provide a banquet for you all. And I think that will I can do something there," she was saying to herself. And so that started. And then we get into, I didn't know how, Mark wrote some lyrics that said, "Excitement and fear, the banquet approaches. But, you know, what's going to happen here? You know, So the Lord gave me this little kind of song going on, and it creates a lot of excitement. And then the rousing electric orchestra, I call, comes back again on the second verse. And then we end up that one with "I Believe I Will Stand." It appears again. And so it just keeps coming back. And then the epilogue, I did a setting of the text, a different melody setting of "God moves in a mysterious way, his wonders to perform," because that was what was happening here. God moved in an incredible, mysterious way that no one would have ever thought about. One, that he put a Jew in as the queen to save the Jewish people, basically, is what happened. And I'm sure she was a stunning lady, or he wouldn't have selected her as a queen, out of all the harems and things that he had around him. He had a choice of anybody, but God's hand was in that, and she was brought in as queen. And then after that God moves in a mysterious way, we come back and do another statement of that theme chorus. I believe I will stand. And by that time, in the storyline, of course, before that, Haman is hanged. He and his sons were hanged on the gallows that was intended for Mordecai. And so after that, the Jewish people, the chorus gets together with Esther and Mordecai, and they sing together, "I believe I will stand." And it's really a rousing ending to the musical. So that's kind of this little picture of where I came up with some of those melodies and things. But
and if I can jump in and say, sometimes, Roy, Mark would come back and I go, "Oh my gosh, where did that come from?" And it was just like, it's so thrilling, to see what he had done musically with this story. I mean, Mark's music, of course, is the heartbeat of the pulse of the emotion, with what goes on with this, and it's thrilling. And I'll just say quickly, those who are watching, if you want to look at a digital reading session on the product page for Triumph of Faith, or on the YouTube channel, the Jubilate Music Group YouTube channel, that'll kind of lead you through it, where you hear the music and get a good preview of. Of course, there's always a preview pack. And one more quick thing I'll say, Roy, as I know we're about to wrap up. This is a musical in concert. And so that means that the actors or the singers and the principals don't have to memorize anything. They stand there in front of their stands, just like we did at Carnegie Hall, and they sing it and speak the lines. So this is a musical. It's 45 minutes. They can be easily put together so that no one has to memorize anything. Now, that said, Nan Allen has written a wonderful drama companion guide that's available separately. And if you do want to do a staged version of the piece with costumes and lighting and all that stuff and some blocking, that's certainly doable, and we offer that for those organizations who would want to do that, because it's a natural story to do that with, obviously, because it's very dramatic. But at the same token, for the choir that's looking for a summer project or an early fall project or something like that, this can be put together in 6 rehearsals. Or something like that. It can be done very effectively without a lot of extra heavy lifting.
Right.
That's a great point, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just going to say, Mark has written this in a way that it can be done either way. And I would really I'd like to get my daughter or me to be a part. I'd love to be with a church that does it, that stages it, because I think it can be very, very powerful as a staged little operetta as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a very powerful message, and it's a doable project. And I hope that choral leaders across the country will take a close look at this and enjoy this the way that we have. Guys, it was an honor to work with you on introducing this to the world, and thank you for your time today. And if you're watching, thank you for joining us today for the Jubilate Music Group product focus video. And we really encourage you to take a close look at Triumph of Faith, the musical story of Esther. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, Roy.